Course 3, Lesson 105. We are looking at compound average and rate problems. This is just going to be a super quick video, an overview of this. So sometimes we get questions like this. Blanca bought 200 shares of XYZ stock at a price of $54 per share. Later, she bought 100 more at $60 per share. What was the average price per share Blanca paid for 300 shares of XYZ? Now, the tempting one is to just say, oh, I want the average between 54 and 60. Unfortunately, we can't do that because she bought different amounts of each at these different prices, which means what I need to do is figure out, well, how much did she pay for those 200 shares, which we would say, okay, 200 shares at $54 would mean that she paid $10,800. And those 100 shares at $60, 100 shares times 60 would mean that she paid $6,000. What we can do to find the average is say, I'm going to add those up, so 16,800, and divide by how many shares I have total, which is 300. So that we can find the average, let's see, so add them up and divide by 300. And we end up seeing that the total shares cost $56 per share, okay? Which is a little bit different from the 57 that would be if we were to just average the prices. Since we don't have the same amounts for each, we can't do that, okay? Similar type of problem here, but just slightly different. After 3 games of bowling, Gabe's average was 88. What score does he need to average 90 in his next to raise his average to 90 with 2 more games? Which means I need to figure out, okay, how many pins did he knock down if he got 88 in each of those 3 games? So we multiply and we say, you know what, he got 264, okay, 264 total points in those 3 games. And then we need to figure out, well, if he were to get 90 in those 5 games, how many points would he need total? Okay, well, he would need, of course, 450 points total in those 5 games if he wanted a score of 90 average. So we need to subtract the 2 totals, say 450 minus 264, in order to see that he needs 186 more points in the next 2 games in order to raise his score. How many games does he have left? Well, he has 2, which means that in each of them, we divide by 2, in each of them we need 93 points. So he needs to raise it a little bit to get his score, his average to that 90. Okay, I'm just going to do a couple more and that's it. Jared earns $12 per hour helping a painter and $15 per hour helping a carpenter. What is Jared's average rate for the week if he helps the painter, for 10 hours and the carpenter for 20 hours? So this is similar to our first problem. We're going to find how much he earns for the 10 hours, find how much he earns for the 20 hours, and divide by 30 since we want that total amount of money divided by the total amount of hours. So we would say that he gets $120 here and he gets $300 here. So he has a total $420 at 30 hours. So we would say 420 divided by 30. Oh, let's try that again. 420 divided by 30, and we get $14 an hour would be his average. Okay, so we can't just say the average between the two is that $13.50. We have to make sure to look at the totals for each and get the total time and total amount. Okay, and one more and then we'll be done. So similar to the one with Gabe, Caitlin has a 4-game average of 87. What does she need in her next 2 games to raise her average to 90? So let's try it again. 4 games at 87 each. So we have a total of 348 points. If we want 90 in each of those 6 games, then that means that we want, let's see, 6 games at 90 each. we want 540 points, which means that in those next 2 games, she needs to get, let's see, we subtract the 2, she needs to get 192 more points. Well, if she only has 2 more games to do it, we need to divide that 192 by 2, and she needs to get 96 points per game in the next 2 games. Okay, now I'll show you a couple more examples here that you can try on your own, and very similar process here. Okay, this one asks for 2 different things: average speed, going and coming, and then the overall round trip average, which is a little bit different, and similar for this one. Okay, well, I hope this is helpful for your homework and for studying.